Today, I want to talk to you about writer's block because if there's one thing that I hear more than almost anything else, it's I keep getting stuck or I just don't seem to be able to get round to writing. So if that's you, today's episode is going to help. I'm Lynn Coleman and I help energy healers and life coaches write more easily using intuitive writing techniques. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. So what is writer's block? Let's start there. Basically, writer's block is where you're having problems writing. You may find that you can't think of anything to say. You may find that you just avoid writing entirely. It's almost like there's sort of this invisible barrier near where you normally write, and you just never get there. You never get round to it. Somehow it just doesn't happen. So what can you do about it? Now, in modern life, what would we tend to do with it? We'd go to ChatGPT and just ask it, what can I write about today? And there are some great things there. There are some great ideas that ChatGPT or some other AI thing can give you, but you're sort of ignoring an invitation if you do that. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So the thing is, we have different parts to our brain, right? So we've got our conscious mind. That's the bit of our brain that thinks it's in charge. Yeah. It's a bit like, it plans, it has ideas, it thinks it's rational. But a lot of the time, what our conscious mind is doing is actually following instructions that come from our subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind is the things that we don't realize are even going on beneath the surface. You can imagine it a bit like an iceberg. So what's sticking out at the top above the water is our conscious mind. That's the things we can see, the things we can understand, the things we know are going on. But without all of the other stuff going on beneath the surface, well, the iceberg wouldn't be as tall as it was, and we wouldn't be able to create as much as we can, because above the surface, we think we're being rational, we think we know why we're making decisions, but below the surface, in the subconscious, that's where all the good stuff is. That's where all the meaty stuff is. The subconscious it works with emotions, it works with symbols, it works with memories. And these can be memories in lots of different ways. They can be smell, they can be taste, they can be seeing something. You might remember little events that happened when you were young. There's so much going on in your subconscious. And your subconscious, here's the thing. So your brain decided as a young child the best way for you to survive. And that was based on your situation at the time. It was based on interactions with your caretakers. It was based on all kinds of things that were very, very true back then, but may not be relevant now. So that means that you may have learnt to behave in a certain way, react in a certain way, because that was your brain trying to do its best job to help you survive as a young child. It's sort of saying, well, this is the life you're leading, so this is how we're going to run this program for you, because this seems to be the best way to do things. And later, as an adult, you try and do things like write, and then you run into this subconscious programming from when you were a small child, and somehow you can't do it. And that's because there's something in your subconscious blocking you from writing. Now, as I said before, the conscious mind is what you're aware of. The subconscious mind is what you're not aware of. So how the hell do you find what it is that's blocking you? So that's what I want to go dig into now, because that's actually what I've been working with over the last couple of years, is how to help people get at that stuff that's stopping them, that's preventing you from writing what you want to write, and get it out there in the open. So you've got a choice. You can go to ChatGPT and you can say, give me something to write about today, or you can dig a bit deeper and find out what's actually holding you back. And that has a couple of benefits. It stops it holding you back, and you're probably going to come up with something amazing to write about. I call it your treasure trove or your secret writing genie. Your subconscious has got so many amazing things to share with you, but you have to dare to interact with it. If you want to keep on the surface, if you want to keep things nice and easy, just go to ChatGPT and ask it what to do. But if you want to dig a little deeper, do some personal growth work, and uncover an amazing way to connect with your audience, then going via the subconscious route is really the best way to do it. So here's how this started. A couple of years ago, I was trying to help people write, and I kept running into this thing where I would say, well, just do this or just do that, and just, yeah. But it isn't just for a lot of people. It's maybe just for me, but that's because I've got used to writing and I can pretty much write whenever I sit down. It's second nature to me, yeah? And I know how to get myself moving again if I am feeling a little bit stuck. I don't worry about it. I just think, oh, interesting, and off I go. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. So my attempts at saying, oh, just do this or just do that really weren't helpful. So I tried to work out how else I could help people. And I realized that the thing to do was to try and interact with the subconscious in some way. So I did a hypnosis training, which was really helpful, taught me a lot of ways to engage with your subconscious without your conscious mind thinking, hang on a minute, this is scary, don't want to go there. So it taught me a lot about that. And I started developing things like visualizations, guided visualizations, auditory tracks, things like that. I was doing these in programs and people were coming up with all kinds of memories and symbols and things that were really meaningful to them. And, and if things are meaningful to you, then it's much easier to share with others. I was getting people to journal. That's why I wrote the Heart-Powered Writing Journal, to help you get going with writing without realizing you're doing it. That's basically the whole trick. If you've got writing block, then you're telling yourself something that is making your brain go, whoa, hang on, let's not go there, let's calm down, whoa, this is too big. But if you're just journaling, it's a bit like doodling, I suppose, in a way. If you want to draw, then you could just start by doodling. That's going to work as well. So I started trying out these techniques to see what worked. And they really do work. They get you writing without you realizing you're actually doing writing for marketing, because that's one of the ways that especially energy healers and life coaches block, is thinking, I've got to do some marketing now. If part of your brain is saying marketing is bad, marketing is evil, you shouldn't be doing it, money is a bad thing, or any of those subconscious messages that so many of us have got, then it's going to be really hard for you to write. But if you can get rid of those kinds of subconscious messages by distracting yourself, doing things in a different way, you can just start writing. So I'm going to give you an example of something that, in my experience, pretty much always works. And I've tried this numerous times in the Epic Copy Seekers membership. Somebody says, I can't write, I don't know what to write about. My standard answer to that is write about that. Write about that you don't know what to write about. Write about the fact that you feel stuck. It gets you writing, okay? And when you've started writing, through that, something else will come, yeah? So you just have to open the door somehow. So that's one tip, something you can do. You can also try journaling. As I said, the Heart-Powered Writing Journal's there for you to try. Try some guided visualizations and make sure that you're doing this in a way that's safe, with people that you trust. Because you are, especially if you're working with somebody sort of, one-to-one, make sure you really trust someone, because they're helping you access some parts of you that maybe haven't seen the light of day for a while. And that needs to be done with respect, yeah? Our subconscious is trying to protect us. It's doing a cack-handed job of it a lot of the time, but that is what it's trying to do. And it's good to respect that too. So just a quick episode this time. just to help you get going if you get stuck writing. Yeah. So important things to know. It happens to everyone. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that you're blocking, because otherwise you're making life more complicated. Do something to get you writing. And that could be a visualization. It could be journaling. You can use the prompt I just gave you. And then when you do get writing, you'll find that you'll naturally move on to other things. And bonus, these are much more likely to connect with your audience than if you went off to ChatGPT and said, what can I write about today? Okay, that was it for today. I will see you next time, and get writing, okay? If you're enjoying this conversation about power, I'm going to invite you to subscribe. Just ring that bell. Now, I believe that now is a time where we need to be having this conversation, and we need to be talking to as many different people as possible and getting as many different perspectives as possible. And the more subscribers there are, the easier it's going to get a wide range of guests to appear on the show. So if you think this is a valuable conversation, especially now, please subscribe, and I'll keep delivering the most interesting guests I can find so we can continue this conversation.